Hey guys, welcome to the studio. So Skullshatterer is another project that a friend of mine also commissioned me for. And looking at her two grenade launchers, it's pretty obvious that this project is going to be fairly straightforward as far as 3D modeling it and 3D printing it goes. When the 3D printing stage is very straightforward and easy, the assembly is also just as easy. However, I did manage to add a small twist to it that elevated the prop a little bit more. I'll get to show you guys later. And overall, this prop, like I said, is pretty basic, pretty straightforward. Thankfully, the grenade launchers do seem to be symmetrical, and so when 3D modeling it, any complex parts, I just need to work on one side and then I'm able to just mirror it. That's a great approach when working on a project for any one of you guys who do 3D modeling for yourselves. It definitely streamlines the whole process. But anyway, we will go ahead and show the 3D model itself. So as you can see, it's pretty straightforward. The pieces, they all connect pretty simplistically. It's just a straight line as far as working it out. It's like a horizontal staff. It's not too complex. But anyway, I'll go ahead and show you guys the parts. This is the butt of the stock. I just have it separated so that it's easier to 3D print. This is the main stock. This is stock number 2. It's a flat connection, but there's plenty of surface area there. This right here is the scope. This right here is the cylinder. And if I turn some of these invisible, I will show you that the scope fits and slots right into this opening right here, and that it hugs the previous stock number 2. This whole revolver cylinder style of the grenade launcher, it does not spin. I could have made it spinnable, but it's a fairly small prop, and so I just figured not to add too much complexity to that. Here's the handle. I've already printed it out, and so these tolerances are pretty darn good. It just fits and slots over this area right here. This is the barrel. I have this little loop part right here and an opening. That way it has a channel that I'm able to connect some wires through. And there is a connector between, there is a connector between the barrel and the handle. Pretty straightforward. It's not too much weight or stress that's being put on it, so having a 3D printed connector is pretty much going to be doable for this. And then we got the muzzle. Pretty straightforward. I have a little simplistic skull shape there, and then we got the cap because, sometimes you want to, depending on the convention, if you have a weapon that resembles a firearm in any capacity, it's good to have the cap be brightly colored, either, orange or pink or whatever. That way anyone who looks at it can very easily identify that, hey, this is definitely a prop. Even if you're in a convention setting, it's always better to be safe than sorry, and to have that part be separate from the cosplay. That way, whenever you guys want to take a picture, you can easily just pop that off and then easily be able to not have it in the way. Anyway, as you can tell, since I have this simplistic skull shape here modeled into the muzzle, I have this empty space here with a channel for some LED lights. Obviously, I've designed it so that you can 3D print the muzzle in a clear filament. You can even just 3D print it partially in clear filament, and then fill the skull-shaped cavity with some colored resin, and then add a simple LED light in the back of it. It will require a bit of soldering, but then that way you'll be able to have some simple lighting that will elevate the prop just a little bit more. So when you throw your 3D model into your slicing program, it's a good idea to keep in mind that since you will be printing the muzzle in a clear filament and you want to save your clear filament, you can go ahead and just print it like at about this height. You're gonna need to be keeping a close eye on your 3D printer as it's printing. That way you can pause it, swap out your filament to like something like just a basic black filament. That way you can save your slightly more expensive clear filament. And then once it's done, afterwards you can pour your epoxy and then do the rest of the steps as far as assembling it goes. Now, I'm not going to touch on how to orient or 3D print the rest of the parts because for the most part, a lot of the parts are very straightforward in terms of 3D printing and assembly. And I'm not going to touch on how to solder it or how to feed the wire either. It's pretty basic as far as adding LED lights to a prop goes. I will say, however, that when you are spray painting or painting in general, just make sure that when you do paint the muzzle, that the very base of the muzzle needs to be unpainted. You need that clear filament to remain transparent as possible. That way the diffusion of light doesn't get blocked by whatever paint you're blasting it with. And when it's all said and done, it looks pretty decent. Anyway, yeah, this was a pretty straightforward project. Very easy 3D model as far as like that whole process goes. If you guys stuck around this far, I appreciate you for watching the whole video. Remember to like, subscribe, all that shit. Right now I have advanced features disabled on my YouTube channel for some inexplicable reason. YouTube never gives like an actual reason for any of these things. I suspect it's because I'm kind of foul-mouthed, and it really sucks because my YouTube channel, the way it's, you know, done, I create a lot of 3D models and I release them, and it's really convenient for me to just post those links directly for you guys to more conveniently gain access to. I'll still continue releasing 3D models regardless of that, because it wouldn't make sense if I punish you guys for some dumb shit that YouTube is doing. It's just gonna suck because I'm gonna have to literally put a space in like https : whatever the hell for my links, but hopefully that gets resolved in like 2 months or however long it takes, because I am not sending them my government issued ID. Anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching, and see ya.